Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to episode 14 of the Deu Awuok Show, where it is my job to interview professional and collegiate soccer players about their life journeys around the beautiful game. On this episode, I speak with Leah Pais, a former player at Florida State University. Amongst other things, we talk about her experience playing for the Ontario provincial youth teams, being named the League1 Young Player of the Year, and most recently winning the Natty with FSU while going undefeated and winning every trophy possible. This conversation was super engaging and fun, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Leah, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
Excited to have this conversation. Let's start with an introduction. Tell us your full name, where you're from, and an interesting fact about you.
My name's Leah Pais. I'm from Mississauga, Ontario. And one really good, interesting fact about me that I just discovered at FSU was I lived about 25 minutes from Drake.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it took me so long to figure that out. But when I said it on stage, I was like, oh my God, like I actually live 25 minutes from one of the world's greatest rappers and artists.
That's funny. How did that come about? Like, how did you know that he was that close to you?
Um, I've always known he was. I just never really used it as an interesting fact.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so I had to say it and I was like, "Oh my god, that's very, very interesting." That's my interesting fact from now on.
Nice, nice. When did you start playing soccer, and who got you involved with the sport?
I started playing soccer around the age of 5 and 6. I have an older brother, so you know how that goes with the older sibling. The younger one always wants to copy everything. So I would do that, and we would play soccer in the house. And then my dad coached my brother, so I'd go to their practices, and I'd kind of watch the boys play, and that's kind of how I got into everything. And honestly, yeah, just following in his footsteps, except being better at it.
Of course, of course. I have younger siblings too, and my brother to this day still claims he's better than me, which I strongly disagree with, obviously. But it be like this sometimes. Is it just him, or do you have other siblings as well?
So I have a dog. We acknowledge that he's a sibling now, considering he's older than both me and my brother. But yeah, other than that, it's just me and my brother.
Nice. So during the later like stages of your youth career, you played for the Ontario Provincial U14 to the U16s team. For those not familiar with the landscape in Canada, talk to us about that league and your experience with that team.
Yeah, so between ages 14 and 16, it's a very big year for some girls because you could go from regular rep to like OPDL, and then that's the year that you kind of get recognized by the provincial team. And then if you're good enough, you can even go into the youth national team that starts at U15 or U17. So it was really, really competitive in that age group. And that was my first year kind of entering into such a competitive program and actually understanding, okay, like there are girls here that are really, really, really good, like girls that I have been used to playing against. That's kind of the average, it's kind of like lower level, but when I step into this program, it's a lot more competitive and serious. So I'd say it was more professional in terms of girls actually wanting to do more and go play on in college, and future soccer aspirations. So being part of the provincial program, I thought it was a really, really cool experience to actually play with a lot of the youth national girls. About half of the Ontario, no, actually all of the Ontario girls, with the exception of like three or four, were on the national team. And then the other half were just like picked from OPDL and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice to be around both and see that, okay, like there is the girls who are on the national team and represent Canada to this day, but there's also girls that they think have potential and everything. And it was nice to get chosen and be recognized in that aspect.
No, that's incredible. And typically when you jump up a level, right? Like the speed of play, the physicality can take some time to get used to. I guess how did you adjust to this newer level soccer?
Um, it took me like not too long, but just a little while to actually grasp and understand that girls are a lot more physical. Girls are a lot more quicker in terms of play. And the IQ that they had and that I thought I had was a little better was like it was matched. So I'm like, okay, in terms of IQ, we're the same, but they got a little bit more physicality on me. So what can I do to differentiate myself? Because acknowledging your weaknesses, I think, is a big strength in my opinion because it understands what you have and what you're working with. And then now using that and manipulating your current skill set can get you a lot further like down the road in your journey because you know how to use what you're given. So just kind of understanding what I can do and how can I be a threat compared to the other girls was something that was really opened up when I started training with these girls. And it made me think differently about the play. It made me think differently about, okay, got to pass quicker, but not stand in the same spot. Move and get on the other side of the damn field. Move into a new space. And I think just being around that group of girls in an environment of really competitive and passionate soccer players, I think it opened up my soccer IQ even more and broadened my spectrum in terms of position wise, spacing, pressing, defending, attacking, and all that kind of stuff.
No, that's super dope. You mentioned that, and to have that level of self awareness at that young age is quite incredible. And I'm happy you brought that up because on one hand of the spectrum, like if you know your strength, you play your strength. On the other hand, you can work on your weaknesses, right? So having that self awareness is super important, and it looked like you found that early on, which helped you because in the summer of 2019, you won the Young Player of the Year in the League 1 competition. The League 1 is the top semi-professional league in Canada. So to be able to win that award while still in high school must have been a great boost going to your first year of college soccer. Talk to us about that season, what it meant for you, and the impact that it had on you going to college soccer.
Yeah, so being part of Vaughn, I knew like Carmine, who was the head coach of the League 1 team at the time, and he would always call me up. He called me up since I was 15. So I started to get a feel for the game and everything. And then when I was 17, Jordan, my coach at the time, he signed me to the League 1 team. And I was happy, but I was like, damn, I can't play in the other games. Because I used to love playing 3 games a week. I'm like, yes, let me go. But actually being signed to it meant that I had to do a lot more in the certain amount of games that I was given. Because when you're in League 1, you can't play in like OWSL or U21. So I knew that we had a mission, and that's to go win the league, win as many games as possible, and then go into the championship round with a given time frame because I have to leave for school. And honestly, being surrounded by such talented girls and such like hardworking females, I knew that I would have the support around me to do my part because we each have a part on the field and we all grow with each other. And back then, I was either playing striker, left winger, midfield. These people move me around like I'm a damn chess piece. I swear. So I am like, okay, but no matter where I was on the field, I always wanted to score. I always wanted to get an assist, or I always wanted to make a great pass that helped lead the team to be better. And I think taking that League 1 season so seriously and playing against really, really, really good girls helped my mindset transition to college because I'm like, you only get to play a certain amount of games. You only get to have an impact for the time you're on the field. And it's like, although I was one of the starters on League 1, that could easily have been taken away. And it's like, impact the game with the time that you're given, not with the time that you're not. And scoring like 9 goals in 10 games, like, I wasn't satisfied with that. And I was like, oh, I could have done more, like, missed goals. But it's all about like understanding how we're a great team. We all have efforts to give, and we all have attributes to share with each other. And if we each do our part, and if we each, you know, turn the little gear, we'll all work as a clock, and we'll all make sure that we get the result. So yeah, honestly, just understanding the mentality of the older girls and then adopting kind of my version of it really did help me go into school because it's like, all right, you got stuff to do. You got goals to put up. You got stats to really, get in there. And I really did enjoy having that particular League 1 season before the start of college.
No, that's incredible. I mean, 9 goals in 10 games is unbelievable. It's great, but for you to not be satisfied with that kind of shows your mentality, which is quite impressive. Were you not allowed to play high school soccer as well while playing for this League 1 team?
So my coach didn't like it, Jordan didn't like it, but I still did just because it was my last year. And like, I don't know, for me, it was just like extra fitness. Like, you just, I don't know, run around, score goals. Like, who would want to do that? So yeah, like, we weren't, it's not that we weren't allowed to. It's just he didn't
Hmm.
want us getting hurt in that, which is totally fair. Like, you don't want us getting hurt, but I always made sure not to go into like 50-50 tackles and, just practice on like other things like shooting. or like taking girls on 1v1, or my positioning or my rest defending, all that kind of stuff.
Nice. So, turning to college soccer, you committed to play at Albany. Talk to us about your recruiting process and your decision to choose Albany over some of the other schools that you were considering as well.
So I committed going into grade 11, like either July or August. I had LIU Brooklyn, and then Memphis was kind of interested in me, but then he just stopped texting, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." And yeah, it was kind of mainly those two. We went to showcases and everything, and there was already two Canadians on the team. Coach saw me, emailed my coach Jordan, and was like, "Hey, really interested in this player. Um, like we'd love to see her at this showcase. Like, are you guys gonna come?" We ended up going to that showcase. It was the biggest. It was the biggest one in Canada, actually, Umbro. So they came, saw me, and all this and that, and then got on the phone and they offered me something. I committed so early because I was just so drawn at the fact. I'm like, oh my god, someone has interest in me. Like, I need to lock it down right away. It was close to home. It had like two Canadians already, so I felt like there was a part of home there, and it was a small campus, and it was something that I can't get lost. People are gonna know where I am, and it was just more of like a safety concern as well. So that yeah, that's kind of like where my mind went to. Is it's the first one, it's a good one, it's a full ride. Like, might as well take it and see what happens from there.
Nice. Yeah, it seemed like it worked out for you because your first season at Albany, you won the conference rookie of the year as you led the team in goals. From the outside looking in, it looked like you had a seamless transition to the college game. Would you agree with that take? And two, what do you think helped you with that adjustment?
Yeah, it was a really good season actually, but to be honest, I didn't play in 5 games at the beginning because I was injured.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So my ankle, like I landed on it and then a girl landed on me. And that was the first ever time like I like just felt something pop out at my ankle. Mind you, I played in the second half, so it was all adrenaline, but like
Oh really?
that hurt. Yeah, I played in the second half, but I was limping the whole time. So yeah, but in terms of the transition, I think that playing against such a high level in League 1 really helped me in the college game. But even then too, like the college game, it's really fast. Like really fast. It's very transitional. It's very like directional too. At least in my team at that time, it was very like go forward, go. So honestly, I kind of had to learn as the games went on and kind of watch and see, or just understanding, okay, I'm not going to run like a track runner this whole time, but how can I impact the game so we can slow it down a little bit, I can catch my breath, and we can play actual soccer. um and two, what was the second question again? I totally forgot.
I was just saying it looked like it had easy transition and then why you think that that was the case.
Oh, yeah, no, it was all the preparation from playing with the League 1 girls too, and sometimes like I'd go play with the men.
Oh really?
I would, yeah. I would be neutral though, so they knew not to touch me because I was puny. So we didn't want no roadkill. But yeah, no, I really wanted to learn, and I really wanted to learn how to be faster and quicker, because if I physically can't be faster, then I need to be quicker with the ball at my feet, get it, turn, and release the ball. So just playing with different teams, understanding different styles of, okay, this is how I play with the guys. How can I use this to my advantage with the girls? And how can I carry this over to the college setting? It took me a little bit just because I got injured, A, and B, I was only training with girls at that point. So it's like I revert back to normal a little bit. But I learned how to be quicker in my mind, and I actually had a lot more time than I realized. So I kind of learned what to do with that time a little bit more, and to be a little more selfish in certain times and try new things and take a player on or take a shot.
Nice. Yeah. I didn't know you missed the first 5 games of the season. I mean, that makes that first season even that impressive, right? Because you missed a quarter of the season and you still led the team in goals and, won conference rookie of the year. Uh, that's spring semester, right? Your freshman year. That's when the COVID-19 outbreak occurred. Um, I guess, what do you remember from those early days of COVID and how did that impact you?
Honestly, those early days of COVID, I was just like, I was weirded out. I'm like, why am I with my family this much? I haven't been home for like 7 months. I need to get out of here. And it was just weird because if I wasn't doing anything that day, I felt weird. I felt icky. I felt like I need to go for a run. I need to do something. So yeah, and practices were not on. Everyone was really confused, and I was kind of scared because I was like, I hate to admit this, but I don't have a soccer ball.
Really? No way. How do you not have a soccer ball?
I don't have a good
Okay.
like pumped soccer ball because my dog, he's a Doberman.
Mm.
And anything he could get his like if it's a ball and we play with it, me and my brother in the house, he thinks he's in on it too. And he goes and all he can do is fight and he punctures a hole in it. So that's why we no longer own soccer balls. But yeah, like I didn't really have a soccer ball. I didn't, have a chance to go out and practice my skills. So it was kind of an interesting time for me because I was really scared for how I would keep my skills, how I would, remain in shape and everything. And yeah, it was a very weird time during the first days.
Yeah, I can remember those days, and I was getting sent home. I remember my coach telling us like, "This thing is gonna blow over by August, right? Because this was in the spring, right?" He was like, "Oh, hot weather, it's gonna kill this virus, and we'll be back on campus playing." That didn't happen, but I guess after your freshman year at Albany, you transferred to Pitt. Talk to us about your thought process as you made that decision to transfer, and then why you specifically joined Pitt.
So 2 weeks into preseason at Albany, I texted my parents while they were on a cruise and I said, I'm transferring. And apparently it ruined my dad's whole trip that he rescheduled another cruise in January. In December of that same year, my coach at Albany was moving to Temple and he asked like 5 girls to come with him. He asked me. And I said, okay, if I can get Temple, maybe I can get another school. So end of Jan, early February, that's when my parents went on the other cruise. And I was thinking to myself, we have no coaching staff right now. Someone's going to come in 2 weeks and take over the team. I'm like, okay, let me put myself in the transfer portal for 2 weeks and then take myself out. I just want to see what I can get. Get into the transfer portal, send a picture of myself, right, to my parents. Hey, I'm in the transfer portal. Dad gets like, he's like, huh? I'm like, oof, sorry, this is really bad timing. I'm 2 for 2 now. Um, but yeah, and in there, I see a bunch of D2 schools. I'm like, all right, don't not going down. Then I see a little bit of like other schools like uh, Towson and then James Madison. I'm like, okay. Then I see Pitt. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. ACC. So start talking with them, and I only had 3 things that I needed from them to ensure that I would come there. I needed a full scholarship. I needed like confirmation that I'd play, and the third one is I need them to have my program. They said yes to all 3, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's get it moving. I didn't need anything else. That's all I needed. And I'm like, all right, let's get her going. So yeah, that was kind of it. Like I knew that I wouldn't really stay at Albany because the girls and the environment, like it was not fun. It was fun for a first year, and it was fun to have fun and experience real college life.
Hmm.
But I didn't move countries and move to a different part at the age of 17 to have fun like that. For me, if I'm spending all this time and energy, and if my father has spent so much of time and energy and money into helping me become the player that I am today, this is of how I pay him back by getting better and showing him that it wasn't all for nothing.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you put in so much into this sport, you obviously want to maximize that and get to the highest level you can. And being able to play in the ACC tournament, I mean, the ACC conference, which is considered the top conference in the country, I'm sure was a big one there. Your first season at Pitt, you tied for second on the team for both goals. And it says, talk to us about the first season there. How was your adjustment? How did you like the program and the coaches and the conference as a whole?
First in there was rough. I was definitely unfit. It was COVID. Like I missed the first 2 weeks of training because I uh I broke COVID protocols and I went grocery shopping with some of the football guys. So had to miss those 2 weeks and then was trying to get back on track and everything. And I didn't realize how much of an effect freedom in terms of money and food would have on my body And so I kind of got comfortable in terms of like lackadaisical. My fitness went down, my muscle went down, all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, there was that. But in terms of soccer wise, I adjusted to the game and I liked that we could play more. And I
Hmm.
liked that the girls had an understanding of we can start from the back, we can go to the middle, we can go backwards, we can go to the goalie, we can pass it around 40 times, still have the ball, and then go up the field. And so that's what I really liked about the girls. It's just that the ACC, like the UNCs, the Florida States, the Duke, like they were constant powerhouses and they were a force to be reckoned with. And we learned that the hard way because we thought we were so good, but when we got to good competition, that went straight out the door. So it was nice to be in a position like that because you play against really, really, really good girls and you learn from them. And it was nice to be able to come into the ACC and be like, "Oh, you got a lot of work to do. You are nothing." And it was nice to see how long it took for girls to get to such high places and like higher areas of their college career just by moves and just by transitions to different teams.
Nice. So during your senior year at Pitt, you led the team with goals, right? Scoring 8 goals that season. And so, despite leading the team in goals and playing lots of minutes in all the games that you played in, you only started 4 out of the 22 games, which was hard for me to reconcile, right? Because like you're like scoring all these goals, you're leading the team in goals, but you're not starting that many games. I guess give us some behind the scenes look into what was behind that. Was that tactical, and why was that the case?
So junior season, I got booted out because of a freshman. Then came that spring season, that junior spring season, and I just worked my butt off. And I was tied for I think the most goals or the most points on the team during the spring season, but I didn't start. I always came on. And fall comes around and um I start the second or third game, maybe. And um I started scoring. And they're like, all right, we'll start her this game. It was against Virginia Tech. And I remember thinking, I'm like, I played against Virginia Tech last time. Poof, that was, I don't know what I did, but that was not soccer. It was not soccer. And I pulled the assistant head coach, Ben, aside, and I'm like, I'm fine with not starting. I told him that. I'm like, you could put Sammy on, who's not one of my best friends. I'm like, you could put Sammy on, and I could come in for her as a sub. Like for me, I think that would be better because it lets me see the team, the opponent, seeing what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, and make a difference. He's like, all right, I hope this works. And then we're tied 0-0 when I come on, or we scored one goal maybe. Then when I come on, we score another 2 goals. I get a free kick. I'm notorious for diving, so I always get that going. And then I got an assist because I played one of my freshmen on through ball, and she goes and scores. Then in the second half, don't start, and then come off the bench again and hit the post, like dribble through 5 people, which I rarely do because I love to pass. And Ben comes to me after the game. He goes, Leah, whatever you want, we can do. Your wish is our command. If you don't want to start, that's cool. If you want to start, that's cool. And it kind of kept going where they would ask me, like, do you want to start? I'm like, no. Like, for me, starting, at least in college and at that time, it was a statistic, and I didn't need that on my resume. What I did with the time that I was given was efficient. I was efficient with my minutes. Had the most goals and had the least amount of minutes. I'm efficient with the time that I'm given.
That's incredible. I mean, to have that level of maturity, and put the team first and think about what would make the most sense, and then to go through with it. Kudos to you. That's incredible. So, as the result of COVID-19, the NCAA gave all the players an extra year of eligibility, right? Because of the 2020 season was canceled. You took them up on the opportunity and decided to transfer to FSU for your grad year. Talk to us about your decision to join them and why you picked them.
So it was November 16th, I'm pretty sure. Sometime in November, we played Florida State in the Sweet 16. They won 3-0, and I shook Brian Pensie's can. And as I shook his hand, he goes, great game, Leah. And I had a fangirl moment. I'm like, oh, he knows my name. No way.
Yeah.
And in the spring, and I'm like, okay, like I'm asking Randy, the Pitt head coach, for an extra year. He's not. He's kind of saying he doesn't really have money, all this and that. And then I'm like, yeah, like talking to one of my teammates, I'm like, what if I go to Florida State? Like that'd be pretty sick, right? You know, end of the season come or end of the spring season comes around, and I tell the girls, I'm like, hey, like I'm just gonna go play professionally. And so get an offer from Iceland, but I don't take it because they want me to come like ASAP. But
Hmm.
I hadn't even graduated, and I was still in LA visiting my brother. And then got home and I got a little bit of an injury for a week or week and a half, and I'm like, no, like I don't want to go play professionally if I'm not 100%. So I go and start emailing the top 8 schools in the NCAA, because if I had the most goals on a historic season, like I was like, okay, I have the stats, I'm efficient, like you look at my games, all this and that, like I'm good enough. Email Florida State, I'm like, hey Brian, are you still in the recruiting process? Blah blah blah. Like, let me know. USC gets back to me and says they don't really have money. 2 weeks later, I see an email from Brian Pensky. I'm like, Mr. Florida State, is that you? And I'm looking at my email box and I'm like, oh my God, he just answered me. So we get to talking and everything. And he asks me like what I'm looking for. I tell him about my family, all this and that. And then it happens. He's like, all right, like you say the word and we got you. And I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And he goes, all right, cool. Like I'll send you everything. And I was like, oh, I'm going to Florida State. But I didn't like feel it was real until I fully touched down in Tallahassee. And getting there was the biggest hassle ever. Do you know what Tallahassee is?
I know where it is on the map, but I haven't been there.
Exactly. This place is like the boonies. No one knows where it is. And I drove to Buffalo. The flight got canceled from Buffalo. Had to hitchhike a damn hotel, right? Had to walk 20 minutes for my food. I'm like, there's no way this FSU dream is real. It's not going to happen. I'm convinced. The next day, I get on a flight, and I'm like in the airport, and I'm like, oh my God, like Brian's going to be here. He comes out. He goes like, hey, man. I'm like, oh, it's real. And I'm like, wow, I'm here at my dream school. And the rest is history.
Nice. Yeah, that decision to join FSU paid off tremendously as you guys recently won the national championship on an undefeated season, winning all the trophies possible. First of all, congrats on such an incredible achievement. But talk to us about that incredible season and what it meant to win the Natty.
Honestly, it was just this group of girls, and I can't really describe it like to the T. It was a sisterhood. Our staff was a family. Everyone clicked and everyone knew that they had a role. But it's like we could separate the personal from professional. And when we got on the field, it was professional. I mean, girls were yelling at each other. Like, I got body checked 3 times. Like, I fell backwards, my neck cracked. Like, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah. And then they just kept playing on. But off the field, it was like we would go get sushi together. We had taco night together. We would all go get ice cream. Like, if someone was doing something, everyone was doing it. And I think there was such a big belief in family and unity that it's what made this team so, so special. And just having that and having each other's backs on the field, having each other's backs off the field, whether it's like you're in the same class or someone's running late, just, hey, she's running late. Just having each other's backs in those little moments. It's what helped the team like entirely. And I think that this sisterhood is what really brought this team like together. It's what every NCAA athlete thinks of before they get there. They're like, oh, like I know this team's gonna be great. No, Florida State is great. That's what you want to get to. That coaches who you could talk to, I would go in their offices and start singing at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's Leah." Like that's me. They loved that, and it's such a big thing that not a lot of teams focus on is family and unity and care and respect and trust and communication, like everything. So for me to have been a part of that and just learned from so many different people, like I learned what is bumping when you're defending and there's another player coming on like near you making a run, bump her, like not body check her, but just get in her way. I didn't know that. There's so many things I didn't know, that I learned here, and I'm like, "Oh, this is how you guys win. This is how you do it." And just learning the little inside scoop and everything, I was realizing, I'm like, "Wow, this all makes sense." And it was a surreal experience. Like, it by far is my best memory ever to this day, whether it's soccer or not soccer.
That's incredible. I'm really happy to hear that. And to your point, that culture makes all the difference, right? It's like one thing to have the talent, but if the cohesion is not there, right? People aren't, willing to, back each other and work for each other. It can only get you so far. And, the results show for it, right? You guys won, what, three out of the last six national championships. And you guys built that foundation where now, every, soccer player wants to go and play there. So it's just going to continue to feed on itself. And I'm sure you're going to get more success in the future. But that's really dope. I'm happy that you got to experience that. You recently signed with an agency, right? And you alluded to getting a professional offer in Iceland. What can you tell us about your future soccer goals?
For me, kind of professionally and where I want to go play in soccer, I know it'll be similar to my NCAA career.
Hmm.
I don't have European citizenship, and I don't have Canadian like national team experience, and I'm okay with that. You have to start somewhere, and it's like for me, I had offers from Brazil or Mexico and Hungary, but honestly, like Iceland is the closest to Europe, and I think it has really good competition. Another Canadian girl went there, and she's now in Sweden. And I think it's if you want to go do something, understand that you have to start somewhere. Understand that you may not always start at the top. If you start at the top, you may trickle down. But if you start at the bottom, you can understand the foundation of what you need to have, and you can understand how to slowly get better and better along the girls that you play with and against the girls that you play with. So it's just like for me, I think Iceland is a great starting point, and it's a really good decision to go build some of my current skill set in soccer and understand the professional lifestyle while still being in a very safe environment.
Yeah, nah, that makes a lot of sense. Iceland is absolutely beautiful, and it's on my bucket list of places to visit. So I'm trying to go there this fall. I had Marcy Barbaric, who played at UB. She played in Iceland for a year professionally there, and so if you want, I can connect you to, and she can give you her experience on what it's like living there. But I'm sure you'll enjoy
Sure,
it.
for sure. I literally I think I sent about 14 different girls Instagram DMs and I'm like, hey, like, sorry to bother you, but I'm just curious about your experience here in Iceland. So I love reaching out because I love understanding people's experiences. I know my experience won't be the exact same, but it's like, at least I can mentally prepare for some possibilities and some, if the volcano erupts, what do you do? If it's 14 inches of snow on the field, what do you do? So, just all those like fun things and the northern lights. I would love to see a green sky.
I hear they're gonna be really big this year.
Yep. Per- perfect timing. Perfect timing.
That's dope. I'm happy for you, and safe travel with your trip tomorrow. As you look back over your soccer career, I know you still have a long way to go, but what would you say has been the highlight so far?
The highlight. Definitely Florida State. It took me from a good soccer player to a great soccer player in terms of attitude, in terms of mentality, in terms of maturity, and in terms of skill set. Like when I went there, people thought I went there to go play as a nine. I started as a nine, then I came back as an eight or a 10. Then I went back as a six. Then I went back as a right back. Then I went back to left back. So each week I moved further and further back. And then I just popped the question, "Hey, can I get into the goalie session? I had a good run too. Like, let me just show you." And it was nice to be able to be trusted in so many areas. Like whenever someone got hurt, I was the extra one going into that area because they knew I had the IQ to understand that position and understand the roles and responsibilities associated with it. And it felt good to be understood in that kind of mindset of I trust her and I'll put her back there when we really, really need her. And for me, that was kind of the greatest form of respect that a coach can show for me is that I'm a nine, I'm supposed to score goals. But you want me as right back? I'll play right back. I'll play right back. Got a girl a red card one game because I I'm notorious for flopping. So I flopped and she just took the bait every single time. So I got that and I was like, wow, like it was nice to have this on my resume at least. And just everything that it taught me, the experiences, like how a women's team should be, how women should treat each other, how um how unified we all were for the same goal and how professional it was. Like nothing as of right now is above that.
No, that's incredible. I'm really happy to hear that. And being versatile is super valuable for any team, right? I've seen it with I'm a big Liverpool fan, as you can see with the flag in the back. And
I
this
did.
year,
I'm like, oh, okay.
we've had a number of injuries, right? And Gomez, who's naturally a center back, he's played center back, he's played right back, he's played left back, and he's played phenomenally. Right? It's super important for us now as we manage that, and for you to like not only be versatile and be able to play those positions, but to be willing and open to do that. Like it's important, right? Because sometimes people do it begrudgingly, like, oh, I don't want to do it, but I have to, right? But to have that open mindset of, okay, well, like it might not be my natural position, but like I'm gonna help the team and do the best I can. I think that's super important, and kudos to you there. On the flip side, what would you say has been the low light of your soccer journey so far?
The low light of my soccer journey. I don't know. I everything that has come across in my path has always been a lesson. I would say before I adopted the mentality of looking at the glass half full. I look at the glass half empty. Nope, I lied. Half. I don't know which one actually. My father says this, and I really tried to copy him just now, and it didn't work. I didn't learn it enough. But just understanding like to do with what I'm given, and I didn't always learn that, and like I
Hmm.
didn't always have it. So that junior season, I would say like that was the one of the lower times in my career because I was scoring and I still wasn't getting playing time, and I would just get mad. I get frustrated, start crying, call my dad. But he would literally tell me, he's like, Leah, like, who is in your circle of influence? Are your coaches? I'm like, no. Your teammates? No. You? Yes. You have the control over your feelings. You have the power to decide how you feel after your performance tonight and how your coaches treat you. And you cannot keep feeling sorry for yourself and you cannot keep feeling angry. They don't want to play you. Okay, that's their loss. I showed up my numbers and I did this and this. Like it's it's on the coaches now to put the team first and put who they want on the field. And kind of not understanding that that kind of I ideology. It was like I was myself, and in that spring was when I really turned everything around. It was like, you know what? If you want to give me 10 minutes, I'm going to score, I'm going to assist, and make a great pass. So being a little immature during that junior season was definitely the lowest point in my soccer career because I wanted to play, 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 and I didn't want to understand and be like, you know what? You need to sit back. You need to watch. You need to understand how to do with sitting on the bench more than playing. And so I did. And I think that is the greatest lesson of all that I've learned, at least over the years.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And to your dad's point about, being aware of what you can control or have influence and what you can is super important, right? Because once you differentiate between those two, you can work on what you can control or influence and then not worry about everything else, right? Like you can play well, do well in practice in the games you get. But if the coach doesn't play you, you can't control that, right? You can just continue to play well and hopefully things will turn around. I guess last question for you as we go to the next segment of this podcast. What advice do you have for young soccer players out there?
Oh, wow. I would say learn to accept what you have and learn to be great with that skill set and those attributes. Meaning, don't try to change yourself and to mimic other players. It's great to want to be like them. It's great to want to do some moves like them or be as agile as them. But as fingerprints on this world, we're all genetically different. Be unique, be your own, and be great in that way. And don't fall into other crowds. Be your own identity and understand what you can bring to the game and make that your greatest asset. Because everyone wants a good midfielder who can run box to box. That's the basic. If you're not running box to box, you're running bench to bench. Like you're going from left bench to right bench. But being able to shoot or being able to whip in a ball or, circulate the field or do whatever, do something unique in the midfield. have that about yourself and understand that it takes time to create that little unique part of yourself, right? And also, I said this to a couple girls when they transferred out.
Hmm.
Everyone is a sunflower, right? And sunflowers can go everywhere. But sunflowers can prosper and be the greatest versions of themselves in the right environment. You might think that your first school is your right environment, but are you prospering? No. You might think that this workplace is the right environment, but are you happy? No. It takes time to find that environment and it takes time for your petals to bloom. Give yourself that time and let yourself enjoy the pain. That's what I always say. Enjoy the pain because you're uncomfortable and you're in an environment where it's only going to teach you how to grow and become a better version of yourself. Obviously, if you're puking after conditioning, that's not the kind of pain I'm talking about. I'm metaphorically speaking, you know what I'm saying? But, just enjoy the ride, enjoy every part of it because for me, like my college career went by in the blink of an eye. And I think mine was a fairy tale and I do it all over again the exact same way. So it's just cherish the moments.
Nice, fantastic advice there, and really love your analogy about the flowers and the environment. Transition to the next segment of the podcast. This is quote unquote rapid fire segment where I ask all my guests these similar type questions. For the first question, best player you ever played with?
Um, Joe Echigini. She's fire. She plays in Juventus now. Or Jordan Dudley too. You can give her any ball, and I don't know how she does it, but she gets it on the ground, she turns, and she starts running like a damn horse at people. I'm like, all right, Jordan, you got it. I'm gonna stay back here. I'm gonna hold the floor down, and you can go.
Nice. On the flip side, best player you played against?
Oh man. Jalen Howell or Yuji Zhao. This was my sophomore year. They were out at Florida State. Yuji Zhao like hit me in the lip, and I was like, "Wow, I just been hit by greatness." Uh, but yeah, there's them too.
Nice. Messi or Ronaldo?
I'm a messy girl.
Fair, fair. Last question for you. Start one, bench one, sell one. Mia Hamm, Abby Wambach, Alex Morgan.
I'm gonna say start Abby Wambach. She's one of my favorite. I'm gonna say sell Alex Morgan because I don't really like her attitude too much, and I'm gonna say bench me Ham. She can come in as a quick substitute, 60th minute.
Nice, nice. I don't know if you know, but Abby Wambach is actually from Rochester, which is my hometown. So she's like a big hero where I grew up.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, so
amazing.
not too far from Canada, actually. Yeah.
Ah, I might have to take a little scooteroo over there to go see her.
Yeah, I saw her a couple of times growing up. Really enjoyed this conversation. I think you shared some really great stories and things that I think will help a lot of young players or people in generally, right, about their life and how to approach it and navigate it. For those wanting to follow your journey, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram, just Leah Pace. I don't really use Twitter. It's a little too much social media for me, as well as Facebook. But yeah, Instagram, you'll see a lot of soccer pictures on there, and I like to like repost everything, and yeah, just social media it up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just Leah Pace.
Nice. Thanks again for taking the time out of your schedule to come talk to me today. Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and look forward to watching your journey.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real blast.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day to listen and support this podcast. It is very much appreciated. Please follow the show if you don't already do so. The show can be found on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and the rest of the other major platforms. As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Much love. This show is produced by Yak Awok and original music by Scott Holmes.